And
going?
that,
I'm just going to hit the YouTube live
Oh yeah,
stream.
let's
We'll get folks hopping in. Just FYI, I
get
like
the YouTube pre-dart.
Yeah, yeah. I just like everybody to know when we're on the record versus off the record.
Yeah. So, well, this is when you can still accidentally slip up and use a bad word.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that you can't use one during it, because we've stayed. If we've done this for 5 years and using the language that we use, obviously we can call ourselves G-rated, and iTunes is not going to pay attention because we just don't get enough downloads. That's
I
what
think
it amounts to.
you have to get reported or something. I think somebody will call you out if you know.
Well, and we don't use it. It's just regular old everyday use cuss words as opposed to like targeted horrific language. And that's where the line gets drawn is, I mean, did you just use, like, is this Top Gun and they had to invent PG-13 because of that? Or is this something way worse than that?
Speaking of Top Gun, when's that one come out?
I heard it was June.
Oh, yeah. So they're
And
like delaying it out.
And that's a 1 year. Yeah, I think they want to delay it until all the theaters can be full because it's going to be a blockbuster boom.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of want to go see it at the drive-in.
They just can't afford not to sell those tickets. I'd love to go to a drive-in and see it. That would be so awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Oh my goodness.
So for your sake, Rusty, we probably should have talked this offline, but I'm gonna say it online. Julia had to cancel for next week, so
Okay.
I'll be hunting down somebody.
All right.
We're gonna push her out a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But she was so Jeff. For your sake, Julia Landauer was actually the very first person to say the F word on our show.
Wow.
And I'm glad it wasn't me because I've done it, but and Rusty has too.
Yeah.
But we try to stay away from that one. That's the one, it's a little bit hard to explain, but I thought that was funny that the Stanford graduate race car driver was the first one to say the F word on our show.
Yeah.
Deb says that Top Gun expected July 2nd. So.
July 2nd.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can expect me to be in Atlanta, and maybe that place we used to go to down in Decatur will have it.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can raise hell at the drive-in.
Starlight Cinema Drive-In.
Well, I would have promoted. I would have said somebody should go to an AMC theater, but after my stock completely tanked.
Oh man!
On that, I have no reason to be excited about AMC.
I think
anymore.
everybody that bought stock in a publicly traded theater program probably is eating a bag of you-know-whats.
Oh well,
now.
this was part of the whole. I'm sure, Gluck, you're talking about like within the last week. Yeah.
Yeah, the GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, Nokia.
Yeah.
I bought all those. I was like, oh man, it's going to take off just like GameStop, and
they just kind of fizzled a little bit. So,
no. So
I
hold on to the game. Hold on to the GameStop, Jeff, because EA Sports is fixing to re-release the college football game, and it's going to explode. Probably August is about when it's going to hit.
No, they tweeted tonight. They tweeted something like the next couple years.
No, it'll be in August. I promise you.
So Jeff,
they'll speed
I bought
that process up.
I bought into the hype a little bit. I bought 1,500 Dogecoin because that one was also kind of exploding on the side.
That was going up.
I told my team, I said, if it gets enough to throw a pizza party, then I'll cash out and we'll have a pizza party. So now I've got like 15, 20 people staring at Dogecoin all day saying, where's it at? How's it going? Like, I think I'm down 25
Isn't it like
bucks.
didn't it go back to like 2 cents or something?
Yeah, well, and then it's back up to 3 today. We're going to the moon, baby.
Oh, okay.
I bought in at like
Dogecoin
5 cents, so I'm screwed.
What was that? You remember that stock that Canis bought, Rusty, that was like 65 cents and it went to like $260 or something. He was like, "Man, I'm rich."
Yeah. Now the GameStop stuff, man. If I'd have bought 2 weeks ago, yeah, be filthy rich.
No,
Hell,
not
I wish-
anymore. Unless you would have sold.
Oh yeah, I'd have had to sell.
Today it went way down. It lost it went down yesterday, and then today it lost 60% more. And,
Dang.
I mean, all those people that from Reddit that were millionaires and stuff and putting pictures of their bank accounts or their stock accounts. I mean, it's all wiped out. So,
Sherwin, did you hear the whole story behind that? I know you've been working.
I probably, so being back in mill life, I'm sure I miss things.
I got you.
Because I'm not allowed to play on the internet nearly as much.
It was
so
essentially
I
at
generally
like,
just
it was essentially at like $15-20. Reddit, some people on Reddit figured out that somebody shorted it, like some huge hedge fund shorted it. So they were like, well, we're just going to pump the stock price way up by just buying a boatload of it. So they did. It went from $10 to $20 up to $350. And people were just going crazy. The people who shorted it had to buy back at a huge loss. It was nuts. So
I'm still not sold on that digital currency thing because of how many times that's already happened. Because that happened a bunch already. It's happened about 5 times where that thing exploded. Because one of them got to like
GameStop
20
stock.
grand for something that people bought for $1, and then it completely crashed. So
Yeah. This was
I'm
specifically
pretty
the stock market.
I'm
Sorry, I think there's a delay and we keep stepping on each other. My bad.
No, it's fine. We should, somehow figure that out. I mean, I'll give you a second in between when you finish and when I start, and we'll be fine.
Yep, sounds good. Well, with all that said, why don't we just get started? How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right,
I'm ready.
let's do it. Y'all know how this goes. I will be back shortly. Well, it helps if I start recording. And there we go.
That is a good thing.
Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tug Game Air Racing Podcast, episode number 276. It's Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace here in the PETM Podcast Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. As always, this podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PETM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie and some stickers. Best part is, every cent this year, we're donating to sponsored drivers. So join the PETM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. They are Aaron Bearden, Robert Kevlin, Coleman Callum, Eric Kettner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Clear, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crock, Catherine McDonald, Brandon Carl, Rick Porter, Julie Bosley, Eddie Greer III, Youngster Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke, Fred Rosado, Chad Knapp, Stacey Coleman, Lisa Chinataro, Rick Houston, Sarah and Barry, Evan Roller, Matthew Bishop, Harry Bolzania, AJ Evangelista, Les Miller, and Jumpy Bob. Woo! All right. Well, with that, let's get into it. And a very special day. Not only Groundhog Day, not only February 2nd, but a very happy birthday to the man in the PETM North Carolina studio. Welcome to the show, pregame engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Well, I appreciate that. And I want to thank Evan Roller for thinking of me and delivering me a jar of strawberry moonshine.
That's awesome. Well done. Well, sir, it's the big 4-0, isn't it?
Yeah. It's 4-0. Jeff beat me to the punch, but we're both at the same spot right now.
That's right. So
I didn't know I was coming on for the birthday episode. How did you deal with the 4-0 stuff? Because I had a hard time with it.
You know what, Jeff? I'll be honest with you. So I talked with my mother today, and I texted with my sister, who's in Northern Ireland. And I said, you know what? 30 was actually way weirder than today was for me.
Really?
40 is weird, but 30 was for whatever reason, mentally was way weirder. And I think it was because I wasn't mentally mature enough to understand it. But yeah, no, 40's weird. It's weird. I don't even know.
We're old. We're definitely old now.
Yeah, we're working our way over the hill.
Well, I'm the young man in the audience here, so I'll just keep it going, keeping it real for the young folks and staring at the hill that's coming up. But that said, we've already kind of talked to him already. But guest tonight, journalist for the Athletic Motorsports, multi-time PETM PhD on Twitter @_Gluck. It's Jeff Gluck. What's up, Gluck?
How are you guys?
Awesome.
This is what number is this for me? Do you keep the actual tally?
Oh, I'm sure I can.
I have it somewhere, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is number 7 for you.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
I didn't know if I was getting close to double digits or not yet.
Oh, we're approaching.
We're working our way. We'll get there.
Speaking of over the hill, that double digits will do it. Gluck, what you drinking on tonight?
So I brought to you guys my special. Now it disappeared. Oh, it disappeared. Do you see that? Look, my mug on the YouTube thing on my Zoom background. I'm holding a mug in my hand right here, but you cannot see it.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's so weird because it's white, I guess.
If you put it up in front of your face,
That's funny.
Here it is, and then it disappeared.
Oh, there it goes.
Whoa.
It showed up for a second. There it is.
Okay.
Ah, if you put it in front of your face, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 2020. It says 1 star, would not recommend. My mom gave me this mug.
That is awesome.
So yeah, that's my coffee mug that I have here. This is writing week for me, pre Daytona. Usually, this week we would normally sort of be in Daytona for the 2 weeks, and I would have all this writing time. This time I'm having to do so much writing before we even go because Speed Weeks is so short this year. It doesn't start till Tuesday. So anyway, I've been staying up writing late, so I need my coffee at this time of night. So nothing fun, just coffee.
So what's writing week like? What's the I don't know, what's the playbook here?
Well, the thing is, for me, ever since we've been, whether I've been at like SB Nation or USA Today or wherever, I feel like, Daytona 500 week is the time where you really roll out. You got to roll something out every day, and not stuff that's like just reacting from off the track, but, stories you worked on, stories that, are going to be different or unique or whatever. So, we've for weeks now, we've had like our whole game plan of what's going to roll out each day. And, for the bigger pieces, you want to have as much time to work on them as you can. So normally in the past, like that Monday or Tuesday has always been like a dark day. Like you'd get to Daytona, like say Thursday, you'd be at the track like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they'd qualify Sunday, they do the clash, Saturday or whatever. Right. And then you'd have Monday, Tuesday, and I would write like all day in my hotel room. And then you'd go back Wednesday for Daytona 500 Media Day, and then Thursday, duels and stuff like that. But this year, it's all condensed, with the new Speed Weeks format. So, I'm flying there Sunday. We have a little bit more media Zoom stuff on Monday. And then Tuesday, it's like, boom, cars on track, clash that night. And it just rolls, the whole week. So there's really no time to – I'm not going to have any extra time when I get there, I guess. So I really feel like I got to knock stuff out now, if that makes sense.
Right. Dang. That's a lot going on. Sherwin, I looked this up, by the way, beforehand. And you share, I might have shared this on the podcast before, but you share a birthday with Shakira, Christy Brinkley, and Donald Driver. And so the big question is, being February 2nd birthday, did you see your shadow this morning?
Well, I'll tell you what. General Beauregard Lee said we're going to have a soon spring.
I can get behind that.
And he's now in Jackson, Georgia, at Dawset Trail Nature Conservancy or whatever it is. But yeah, so and he's like 2 times as accurate as Punxsutawney Phil. So Bo's the one you want to go with.
Yeah. I think it's we probably talk about this. It's like Groundhog Day every year when we talk about it, but it's like everybody knows Punxsutawney Phil, but I don't know how much bubble that General Beauregard Lee has. But he's a man, and he was over in my hometown for the first however long of his life. And Gluck, have you heard of General Beauregard?
This is I mean, I have as recently as 30 seconds ago.
So Georgia's got their own version of Punxsutawney Phil, and of course he has a very southern, like, Civil War type kind of name, but they moved him from where Rusty lived, or where he grew up, down closer to where I live, because the ranch that he was at closed and they had to move him. But so he's in Jackson, which is only like 8 miles from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm curious, from the posse, who all has heard of General Beauregard Lee and where they're from, just to see how far the influence goes. Because, you know, when growing up, and especially, like I said, I mean, he was right next door to us at the Yellow River Game Ranch was the name of it. And he was always, that's who you talk. I didn't know who Punxsutawney Phil was until the first time I saw Groundhog Day. And then, you know, I was like, oh, that's like the General Beauregard of the North. But no, that's actually the one that most people pay attention to, evidently.
I have a question, though. Like, I don't understand, you know how, like, you know, like for like the LSU Tiger or whatever, or like the Georgia Bulldog, like they have like UGA 6 or whatever like that, you know, like is Punxsutawney Phil, like, is he 20 something years old or something? Or is he like Phil number 18 or like, do you guys know how this works with the groundhogs?
So apparently they can live up to like 30 years. So it's a lot longer lifespan than a dog, but there's been a bunch of them. Yeah, the name just keeps rolling, and they don't add numbers for whatever reason.
Okay,
but yeah, it's not like, you know, it's not like UGA and Bevo at University of Texas. They don't add numbers.
Yeah,
okay.
I was just looking him up on Wikipedia here to see like what. You know, unofficial.
I don't think LSU adds Mike the Tiger number X. I think it's just this is the Tiger. But it may be that the one that they have now is the same one they had, because Tigers have a lifespan of like 55 years.
Yeah, so they don't have to roll out all that often. Yeah, I'm trying to see, but I don't see anything that says. I mean, the whole thing started in 1887, so it can't be the same one.
Clearly, there ain't no 133-year-old groundhog.
Yeah. So
maybe an alligator. Like if you're the Florida Gators, you might have a 133-year-old dinosaur.
Ain't nobody like trying to figure out if the alligator saw a shadow. You walk up to him, hey, how about that? Whoa, look out!
Yeah, can you please not eat me? Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, that's A+. No, but again, happy birthday and everything, Sherwin. Mr. Gluck, baby number 2. What's the story?
Yeah, we're about 7 weeks or so away. You know, about to go down the sleeplessness hole again, I guess. And you know, I'm just kind of hoping to go to Daytona and get back before anything crazy happens. I mean, our first daughter, Liliana, she came 3 weeks early. So I remember we were getting prepared, and I thought we thought we had time. We went to a regular doctor appointment, you know, for Sarah, no bags packed or anything like that. And they're like, yeah, we're going to have to go ahead and induce you, you know, because like she had her high blood pressure or whatever. And they're like, you know, like, we're going to have to do this now. And we're like, now? Oh, okay. You know, so this time I have no expectations that we're going to go like the full time and we're going to make it to mid-March or whatever. So as long as I get back from Daytona, I'm just like, all right, well, let's just bring it on. I'm like going to be mentally ready as soon as my plane lands after the 500.
So are you ready for the double team defense to go to man on man?
No, there's no way I'm ready. I mean, I think if you're ready, or, you know, you say, if some parent is gonna be like, oh yeah, we got this, we're ready. that's just, you're an idiot, absolute idiot if you would think that. I mean, there's nobody who could be ready. I mean, this is so hard. I mean, even with one is so hard. I can't imagine how hard two is going to be. I don't know how people with more than two do it. But the positive thing is our first daughter, she's a little bit over 2 years old. So that we're going to knock out the whole diapers thing. We're going to knock out the whole potty train thing. And then, 5 years from now, whatever, we'll just be done with all that business. And, they'll probably be fighting all the time, but it will be past the really hard part, I think.
Yeah.
So is number two a girl or a boy?
A girl, another girl.
Oh, so you're going to be in the estrogen ocean here pretty soon.
Oh, far outnumbered.
Oh, man.
You better learn how to work that toilet seat.
Sherwin, I think it was, I shouldn't say I think, I know it was you who in soccer had always said the third goal is the most important, right? And so now this is like the third family member for Jeff. And so it's kind of like, all right, well, if it's a boy, the third additional. And so if it's a boy, then we're even numbered, right? But if it's a girl, I'm way outnumbered. So it swings hard one way or the other.
Oh, it changes the game, and if, Jeff, I don't know if you're done yet, and I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but if you think going from 2-on-1 to 2-on-2 is hard, wait till you go to zone defense. I'd say think about that third one real hard, because zone defense is a whole nother animal. Because one of them things is running around and you don't have any control over it.
I think I may retire just from playing defense at all. Just be like, all right, you guys win. You guys win. You got it.
Well, that's
need a bonus room that's nerfed up real good.
Yeah. Sure, when you got the shirt on today, we're going hats off for this one, Mr. Hammer and Hank. I love that shirt. Hammers for Braves. That's fantastic. And I mean, what else can you accomplish in a lifetime? Not just home runs, but just everything else. It's, talking about Atlanta stuff and Georgia stuff. I mean, Atlanta legend right there.
Well, there's a lot of people that have said it, and I'll say it again, and I know that I'm biased because I'm from Atlanta, but Henry Hank Aaron is the best baseball player that ever lived.
Especially right now, you're not going to get an argument here. Yeah, it's cool. And while we're taking the hats off, man, how about Dustin Diamond? Poor fella, old Screech from Saved by the Bell.
I'll give him a nod too.
Yeah.
And real quick, while we talking about Hank Aaron and the Braves, the Braves hired Chipper Jones as a hitting consultant. Which is cool because this looks like a succession plan for him becoming the manager of the Braves.
That was goosebumps right there that I just got. I'll tell you what's funny about that. I remember being a teenager and hearing about how Chipper's dad would come in and help him with hitting. Like his dad was his hitting coach. And then, of course, Terry Pendleton and all that. And then now, passing it down. Now he's the master and coming in as the teacher, if you will.
He's the best switch hitter of all time.
There's no doubt about that one. I'll fight.
It's good to have that guy on your team. I used to live 2 miles from where he lived.
On a much smaller lot.
Oh yeah. He had clearly a bigger house.
No, that's cool. So let's talk NASCAR. Let's get into it. Report card.
Is this a racing podcast?
I know, right? Right. I just like catching up. It's been a while since we talked to Mr. Gluck.
Right.
It's awesome.
I mean, we haven't been able to go to a damn race for a year, so we haven't been able to see Jeff and up close in person and ask him those questions where you're like, you don't think to ask when you write them down on paper, but you think to ask them once somebody gives you a piece of data. Which
comedian was it? The the Southern greeting is, "Hey, how you doing? How's your mama and them?" Like that's.
Oh yeah,
that's just how you greet people. I have a
I
funny.
think that was Larry the Cable Guy that said that.
It might have been. I have a
Although
funny
he's from
story with that.
Nebraska, but still Southern comedian.
Have I told the story of going to the Catholic Church the first time?
Oh my goodness!
My wife grew up Catholic, and so I went to her confirmation, something like that, which is a thing you do when you're young. And so we've been together forever. But so it was Catholic Mass. Now, I grew up Southern Baptist, and Southern Baptists, at the beginning, they all say, greet your neighbors and everything. You greet your neighbor. Hey, how you doing? How's your mom and them? Hey, how you doing? How's your mom and them? Good to see you. All right. Hey, Mr. Bill, good to see you. Miss Nancy, great to see you. How you doing? And so apparently this is more scripted in the Catholic Church. And old Rusty, young Rusty at the time, did not know this. So he said, preacher man said, or pastor, what do they call it? It's not preacher man. It's not pastor, whatever. Reverend. Priest. That's right. They have the priest. Priest says, whatever it is, get up and greet each other. There's an official name for that or whatever. But Gluck, did you grow up or ever go to the Catholic Church?
I did not. No.
Okay. So here's the thing. Is I stand up, I turn to the person next to me, and I say, hey, how you doing? How's your mom and them? And they go, peace be with you. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird to say, but, cool, peace be with you. I'm down with that. And then I turn to the next person. Hey, how you doing? How's your mom and them? They go, peace be with you. And I'm like, all right, this is a little weird. This is kind of a thing. Evidently, that's what you're supposed to say in the Catholic Church. You don't just say, how's your mom and them and all that. So old Rusty's sitting here just going off script the whole time and felt pretty embarrassed at the end of that.
You know what's funny about that is the only amount of church that I went to was Southern Methodist.
Okay.
And we said, peace be with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Methodist is like halfway between a Baptist and a Catholic.
Yeah, yeah.
Which means we're not scared to drink around our friends. But we don't have this whole priest isn't allowed to be around women thing.
Right. Oh, no. So anyway, there's old Rusty's story. Let's talk NASCAR.
Hey, redneck, man.
First period here. This was from last week because we just, went off the rails last week and you had a lot of fun, but I figured we'd talk about this one. Jeff, curious about your thoughts on this one. Kyle Busch closing down his super late model team. He was citing that there was too many pokers in the fire, essentially, and he had responsibilities around Rowdy Energy, KBM stuff, Cup season that's coming up soon. Is that, do we take that at face value, or do you think there's something deeper there?
No, I mean, I think that's one of those things that's sort of like a passion project where you're not getting, it's probably costing a pretty decent amount of money. You have to have people to maintain it, people to run it. He obviously wants to show up and race, at certain places when he can, but he can't really race that much. I'm sure it's just burning a hole in his pocket, and probably just one of those things where it's like, do I really need to be doing this? He's juggling a lot. So I don't really, for me, I personally don't think it's any sign of anything big or anything like that. But, I think people start stuff up sometimes. They're like, man, this would be cool. I can go jump in this when I want to, but then you get the bill for that and you're like, maybe it's not that cool.
Well, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, and most of the people that listen to this podcast probably do understand this because they understand finance, is that Kyle takes about a $2 million bath on the Truck Series because he wants to develop drivers because he thinks that's important. And then, if you have to take another bath in your late model program, it's like, how big of a bath do you want to take on a loss? So I'm not surprised that he made that decision.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, it makes me think back to the GE CEO, Jack Welch, who said, and he's got that same competitive spirit that Kyle Busch has. And Jack Welch would say, I want to be either number one or number two in my sector, or we sell it off. And so it kind of feels like if he can't feel like that he can be competitive in that series and put it all in there, then, why keep dumping money in? No comment. Rusty just laid it down. Just
No,
messing.
I think that's, I don't have, I think that, there's been stuff that at times I was like, again, like, hey, maybe this will be really cool. This will be a hobby, you know, um, actually before the jeffgluck.com stuff became like a living for me, I had like the jeffgluck.com website.
Hmm.
And, you know, even that, like, of course, I don't have Kyle Busch money, right? But for my money, I was paying the registration fee, the hosting fees per month, all that stuff. I'm not
Right.
getting anything back. Like, I don't have any advertising on it. I was just like blogging about TV shows before I started using it for the Patreon stuff a few years ago, right? And
Hmm.
after a while, I'm just like, man, why am I doing this? Like, I could be taking this $20 a month or host, whatever it was, $50 a month. I can't remember. And like, it's just, for me to have like a outlet to write when I feel like it. Nah, it's not worth it. So again, like it's all what it sounded cool at first, but after a while you're like, nah.
Right.
Yeah, I totally understand, and that's the way it is with this internet TV thing that's going on now, and we'll see where that goes to. But I cut the cord and went to internet TV because I started looking at a bill, and the first time I saw it hit $360 for 1 month, I was like, okay, this is irresponsible. Considering how much entertainment I derive from listening to podcasts, and the only thing I really want to do is watch live sports and whatever's on Netflix, I'm like, I'm probably not making a good financial decision. And eventually you come to that, but it comes to a head. It has to come to a head before you make that decision where you go, yeah, I'm freshly done with this. This is not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So I bought the expensive internet so that I got two computers and a smart TV. I can have three different things going on at the same time, and it doesn't bog the internet. And I can do this and it's fine. And whatever else I need to do, I can work from home if I need to. So like it does come to a head and you finally just go, this is kind of ridiculous. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. We cut the cord about, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. And I mean, Sherwin, I worked in that industry for 15 years. And so I always had cable and whatnot. And then recently I'm just like, what am I doing watching this? And something expired and I just never renewed. So that's how I cut the cord, was just out of, I don't know, attrition or whatever. It was just like, I'm just not getting it out of that I need. This is something that we talked about last week, and Jeff, I'd like to get your thoughts on like the NASCAR deal, quote unquote, coming up. It's another 3 years from now for expiration, but we just had the news that NBC Sports, or whatever that's called, that channel's going away, and so that's moving over to like USA or broadcast. And so, what's the future of this look like? Is NASCAR? I feel like NASCAR is destined to go to some sort of streaming service at some point. Is that like a coffin nail, or is that like a cool outreach thing?
I don't think it's outreach. I think it's if you back up for a second and you look what happened in the last TV deal, right? We all know, at the time, the whole Fox Sports One thing and NBCSN. Remember, they weren't even like necessarily carried on the right tier or the good tier for a lot of the cable services. They were an upper extra sports kind of tier, and they were both those networks way overpaid so they could get content for NASCAR and then try to get on the good tier. And NASCAR took the money, and that decision, obviously it cost them a lot of viewers, right? Like, you go away from ESPN, you're going to lose a lot of promotion for the sport. You're going to lose a lot of eyeballs, in a sense, of general sports fans. Because, for NBCSN, for instance, I mean, you're probably not really watching NBCSN all day. You're watching it when something comes on that you want to watch. So, but that money now has kept the sport afloat, right? Like, as the sports ratings have declined during this TV deal, those billions coming in have been absolutely massive to everybody's health, all the teams' health, all that stuff, to have that money still coming in. So you would think this time they're going to get far less money, but to maximize the money they are going to get, to me, it's like I think the streaming services are going to be looking to overpay for live sports, for live content, especially in a few years. Where we see these streaming wars coming up more and more. I don't even know what to buy, right? Like, I mean, gosh, it's like there's so much out there. I'm kind of looking at stuff now going, man, it seemed like a good deal when, okay, you had this for $5 a month and this for $9 a month. But then when you add it all up, you're like, holy cow, this is crazy. Now I'm paying more than I was for cable because of all the different services. So, as people are going to fight, is it Disney Plus or whatever? Okay, who's going to get NASCAR? Who's going to get live sports? And I think destined is probably a fair term at this point. I have no inside information on what they're looking at, but just seeing where the direction of things is going, I would think that NASCAR is going to have live races on streaming in some capacity, in some form. I definitely see it heading that way. I think it will, again, cost them a tremendous amount of viewers because that makes it even more niche, right? Like, you really have to seek it out and find it then. Even if you have that streaming service, even if you have Peacock and you're paying for it, it's going to be, it's not going to necessarily be right in front of you. Like, you go to that service to seek it out. The promotion's not going to be the same. So, but if they can get the money from it to stabilize the sport again, it's worth it. So it's a very tough balance, but I think that's where it'll go. It has to.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, NASCAR was on cable for a long, long time, and it only rarely showed up in broadcasts. So it's interesting that people get upset about that being the approach they're going to take, because until Fox showed up, it wasn't standard that you had a huge chunk of the schedule that was going to be on, you can use a UHF antenna to pull in the race. So I don't know what group of people that is, but to tell a funny story really quickly, I didn't realize that I was an ESPN Plus subscriber until I went and I dug in to figure out how I could buy the Conor fight, the UFC fight. And they were like, yeah, you're already in. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm tossing money at this thing and I didn't even realize it. And now I'm going to spend $60 to buy a fight, which I was fine with. That no big deal. We all allocate however we spend our money on our entertainment. That's no big deal. But I didn't even realize that I was subscribing and I was not taking advantage of the things that I had available to me, especially now that we've moved into this internet world where all the television that I have is based on the internet. It's based on YouTube. It's based on ESPN Plus. It's based on whatever.
Yeah. I think what they really need to do is re-examine the opportunity that they have here for content too. When you're streaming, you're not bound by certain rules or whatever you want to call it. And maybe there's another cuss word or two that happens. I'm not saying that the broadcaster should just be sitting there cussing up a storm, but you don't have to apologize for every little transgression that happens over the radio or something. And so you might be able to be a little bit more spicy in that. And there's also, whatever other opportunities that come with doing something over the internet. And the other thing I was going to say is you got to get people hooked on it in terms of, hey, why don't you just sign up and it's X amount of dollars per year. And, now you do have to be active to sign up, but you also have to be active to sign out, to opt out of it as well. So, you hook enough folks and that'll do it. I would parallel that with like the race view stuff. And they keep morphing what that is and what the offering is and how much money it costs. And every year I just get this like one email that's like, hey, you've been re-upped unless you want to, back out of it. And I'm like, whatever. So it's one of the things.
Sorry to cut you off, Rusty, but think about it from this perspective is, ABC actually started pushing the limits on late night television with NYPD Blue. and started using adult language and trying to adjust people to accept that. And that's a Disney owned entity. And they kind of started it all. So here we are now. We have all these internet entities, and Netflix is producing, and Hulu is producing some really great shows that are riddled with adult. I mean, they have rated R shows, and so cable adapted very quickly and said, "Oh, okay." So like if you think about Yellowstone, Yellowstone is smashing because it's great writing, it's great acting. You got star power in Kevin Costner, but they're using a lot of words. We talked about this before. And so think about what Wayne Taylor said after he won his 6th Daytona Rolex 24. He said, "This is fucking awesome." And like, why is that a problem? Okay. Because we're all adults for the most part. So it's really not that big a deal, which is why even Fox and NBC both said, "Oh, sorry for the language. We're moving on."
Yeah.
And then if you think back to 2005 when Dale Jr. got docked 25 points for saying the S word.
Yeah.
And it may, we don't know for sure because there were 3 races left to go, but it may have cost him a championship because it was like the 3rd time that year he got in deep doo-doo for saying shit on national television on a broadcast channel.
So,
and it's like now nobody really cares.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I think not just content wise, but I mean in the same way that HBO does, the NFL stuff, where it's not like we're trying to go out of our way, but we're not going to apologize for anything either. So here's the real deal. Here's what's actually going on. I think it's interesting, and an opportunity.
Well, that mic'd up stuff that the NFL's doing is, to me, it's worth the risk because it's so interesting to hear those guys just talk during the game. Talk about, moving a guy around. You need to go here. You need to go there. They're doing this. They're doing this. And then maybe they drop a bomb. And all the broadcast team has to do is go, "Yep, we're hot mic'd." And sometimes that happens.
Yeah, yeah. So second period that I wanted to talk about, we went on a little detour there. But the Jeff, I know you've had some strong opinions on this podcast about the iRacing Pro Invitational. It was announced for 2021. I thought what was interesting this year, a couple things. First off, Wednesday nights on FS1. So FS1 is showing this thing, so that's kind of interesting. But secondly, the things that they're doing, Bristol Dirt, COTA, Dega, Darlington, in terms of their schedule, I think it's kind of a neat preview, not realistic necessarily, but a like hype or something like Bristol Dirt. Hey, we're going to race Bristol Dirt a week before they do on For Real. And is there an audience, I guess is the way to put it, for or a significant audience? I'm sure there's an audience for everything. But is there a significant enough audience for FS1 to be hosting Bristol Dirt, on iRacing?
Well, I mean, they think there is, but as you know, this reminds me, it's just, I just think this is so forcing it. Look, obviously, poor Fox, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. They've lost a lot of content. Because they really used to make, more than any network, they really used to highlight how the race weekend went. I mean, they had their Fast Friday, they'd sell advertising, they'd air practice, they'd air qualifying, then they'd air multiple practices Saturday. They brought the set for a while, the whole race day set there, especially back in the day when you had, Kenny Wallace and all those guys and, live at the track and Elliott Sadler and stuff like that. I mean, it was like, that was part of the race weekend. It was a must watch thing. And so now you look at all these 1-day shows, they've lost a lot of content. So it's sort of in some ways the least NASCAR can do to get a bunch of drivers to try to give them some sort of programming, as you said, like Wednesday nights and stuff. Okay. that's fine. I just don't, especially them doing the same tracks they're going to be racing at. Gosh, what an opportunity to do some fantasy tracks and some really cool different tracks. Instead, you're going to be like, okay, we're going to go do this, and get excited because a few days later we're doing this in real life. I don't want to watch. I think what is, I'm not going to totally dump on people watching video games and stuff like that. Because I think like League of Legends and all that stuff, like you're watching a fantasy thing. It's not a real world thing. When you're watching, it's just like, people, they were trying to get people to watch the Madden Pro Bowl stuff this last weekend. I'm not going to tune in to watch fake football players, on a screen. When if I want to play Madden, I'll just play Madden. I don't want to watch other people play it. So if it's something that's real life, I just don't see the attraction of watching that on TV. Now, look, they're going to get a lot of driver star power behind it. They're going to try to promote it and all that stuff. I think really the shine wore off pretty quickly toward the end of the quarantine lockdown last year, toward the end, where people are like, all right, we're just kind of going through the motions here. The first few were great because they were hilarious and fun and new, and you could hear all the drivers talking to each other. If you can somehow recreate that, great. But I think now it's sort of like these guys are going to be wanting to be good at it. It's not going to be so much, Jimmy Johnson's just spun out in the middle of the field. Oh, what's Jimmy doing? He's crazy. It's not, that was funny at first, but now it's, I don't know. I don't think this is the right way to sort of market NASCAR. But look, I also understand the need for these networks to try to get some sort of push, but I don't know. I'm kind of out on it.
I like what you say about, make it a spectacle, if you will. And that hits home for me in watching people play video games. I don't go on Twitch and watch people just do a straight run of some game, but, I'll hit up, what was it I watched recently? So I think it was Skyrim that this one guy plays. Doug is his name, but he just does outrageous things. So he's like, I'm going to play through Skyrim, but every 10 seconds, I'm going to spawn a bear right behind me and just see what chaos ensues. Or I'm going to play Grand Theft Auto, but there's going to be planes crashing every 10 seconds around me. Like it's it makes it funny. It makes it, very, very clippable, I guess is a thing. Like you can take this thing and make it into something, a 10-second or 1-minute clip that you can post on YouTube and it goes viral or whatever. So, maybe to your point, do a fantasy thing, do a figure 8 track, do something wacko. If
exactly.
You're gonna do that.
And how hilarious would that be, right? Because if you have real NASCAR drivers doing a figure 8 or something, or make it into like a Daytona dirt, like they cover Daytona in dirt and make them run that and just all the hilarious hijinks and all that stuff. That would be entertaining and funny and oh my gosh, what's going on here? But when you try to stage a real serious race and then you're going to go race on that same track and you're like, this is just how it's going to be. I'm sorry. I have a hard time getting into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so the analogy that I would use, and I think Rusty might agree with me on this, is because the game, and since we're all basically the same age, we probably learned what.
Wait, Sherwin, let me interrupt. I am not 40.
All right. So Rusty is still only 38. And he's got about 6 months until he turns 39. But the game that I'm thinking of that we probably had the most fun in late teenage years and moving into college and maybe even beyond that was GoldenEye, because you could play with 4 people and it was interesting. The absolute most fun we ever had was playing Big Head, Capture the Flag, Slappers with GoldenEye Kill, one-shot kill. Because it was so funny. You walked up to a guy and you slapped him in the face and he died. And you took his flag and then you just ran off. And that was so funny. Like it was just as funny as it was fun to play.
Yeah. How many times did you, I'm going deep into this rabbit hole now. how many times did you get into like a slap contest with somebody else, but you both kept missing? So you're just like, come on, hit him, do it. And both of you have that big, because in GoldenEye it was that like one big hand with a swoosh sound that would come across. Whoosh.
It was like swipe, and you would miss, or you would like. I mean, it is still probably the most fun game. I want to buy an N64 just so I can play that game, but it's not any fun to play it by yourself for me. It's so much more fun to play with 4 people and everybody's having a beer and going, what the hell? And yelling at each other and going, whoa, I got your ass, and blah. Like, I mean, so that's sort of part of, I think that's how we've migrated to where we're at.
Mm-hmm. So I'll move on to third period after all that. And third period's all about an article that, Gluck, that you posted recently, about the rapper and Daytona 500 Grand Marshal Pitbull teaming up with Justin Marks and really getting into NASCAR. You know, I think of my exposure to Pitbull has mostly been like working with Kesha on stuff, and I like his stuff, and I like her stuff. So you know, I'll admit to being a fan. I'm in. So what's the I don't know, maybe what's the summary of what I don't know how he's getting into this whole thing.
It's really interesting because he apparently is a pretty decent NASCAR fan. Like, I was talking to Justin Marks for a while the other day about their whole relationship and stuff. And when they went to dinner, the first time they went, Justin and Daniel Suarez and Ty Norris flew down to Miami, and they're in this private room of the seafood restaurant there, and Pitbull comes in, right, and for their meeting, and he's like all pumped up about NASCAR. He knows all about the moonshine routes. Sure, when he'd love your drink. He's watched all these documentaries. He went to like a private screening of Blink of an Eye. Like he's into NASCAR stuff. Like, he knows NASCAR. He's known who Suarez is, and it almost sounded like he was kind of waiting for the perfect opportunity to get in. And, you know, the right guy happened to be Justin Marks, because Justin has such a unique vision for what he's trying to do with the team. He's really not trying to go with the traditional race team model at all. First of all, he doesn't have, the money to do that. He can't pour like millions of his own dollars into it. So he's got to sort of create a marketing platform that happens to race. And so he's always had this sort of outside the box vision for it. Trying to make it bigger than the sport, to transcend the sport. And it really appealed to Pitbull because Pitbull's whole thing is unity, and how like music is a universal language. And so like he thinks that, the same way music brings people together of all colors and languages and all that stuff, like NASCAR can be the same thing. Like, that can be a unifying thing. And this is a world that needs unity right now. So, their visions just click. They hit it off. And, he ends up, being a partner of a first-year team. Pretty crazy. By the way, I know we're doing this on Sherwin's 40th birthday. The announcement that Pitbull was joining Trackhouse was on Pitbull's 40th birthday. So that's 3 of us in their 40s. Rusty, you're actually trailing behind. You're not in some cool thing just because you're still in your 30s. You're just losing the race. That's all.
I was just about to say that because I pulled his wiki up. Pitbull turned 40 on January 15th.
Oh, wow. Wow. Very recently. You know what? I'm comfortable in that last place position. I'll run back of the field rest of my life. It's funny you get what was it? I did some survey at work this past week. And we're doing this and I love it. It's this diversity and inclusion thing. And I'm glad we're doing this and starting to recognize stuff. But I say but not in the sense that I don't like something. Maybe I do not like something. And that is that you had to check what your age group was in kind of their survey. And I had to check, because I'm in such a young company, the highest age group, the like greater than. And I'm like, I'm not in the greater than category. Give me a break, guys. Like, I think it was greater than 36. And I'm like, now I feel old. I was feeling great before this. I was feeling not. I felt not diverse. How about that? As a white male, you just feel like, okay, I should recognize what I've got going on here. But then then it's like my survey told me that I'm old. I don't know about all that, fellas. Give me at least like the token 60 plus or something so that I can be in a range. But yeah. Anyway, you know what?
It's funny.
Yeah. Let's talk about this one. How about if we look across Hendrick, we have pretty much 3 cars that are full in terms of sponsorship for the whole season. I mean, there might be a couple races here and there for a couple of the cars, but they'll fill it up, no problem. As you might predict at this point, Larson has sponsors for the first 3 races, and that's it. Jeff, what do you think that other than super squeaky clean record going forward, what does Larson need to do to kind of assure himself sponsorship after the first 3 races?
I just don't. I don't know. There's really anything he can do. I mean, I guess maybe if you go out and win, maybe that helps right now. But I mean, sponsorship takes so long to attract and to sign those deals. I really think he's going to pretty much have to put a full season together, half season, really before you see some big brands jump in. And I think Hendrick knows that. And Hendrick has been, taking sort of a long-term play with this. I mean, he knows signing Larson that, it's going to be hard to get sponsorship right away. But he's banking on the fact that Larson's going to win, multiple races and contend for championship and stuff. And then the sponsorship will come and take care of itself. Certainly Larson's not going to make, the grave mistake ever again of saying a racial slur. I can guarantee you that. So, I think patience will be required. He's with the perfect team for that because Hendrick will just fund it out of his pocket or whatever, use the B2B stuff. And I wouldn't expect Larson to, you're not going to be like, oh, wow, he just got this huge brand sponsorship from this major company in April or whatever. It's just going to take a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
I think it is going to take a minute. There's going to have to be success pretty quickly for people to forget about what happened a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, fellas, I'll just hop away from that one and just say there was some vague booking from Jeff Gordon today about an announcement coming tomorrow. Jeff, any inside information? I mean, y'all both share the same first name, so it's you got to have something there.
I thought it was like his Corvette thing or win his charity thing, wasn't it? Like I saw that at first, and then I thought they said, okay, that's going to be like the day you win his Corvette or whatever, right? First I thought, because Bobby Labonte did the same thing, I thought, well, it's definitely going to be SRX, and they're going to announce, Jeff Gordon driving for SRX. But then I thought I saw somewhere that the Gordon one was him doing some charity thing or something like that. I don't know. The only thing, when you tease an announcement like that and you're a retired driver, the only thing that comes to mind is he's going to go do the SRX for a race or something like that, right? But I don't know.
I would suspect if they have scheduled a race at Sonoma, that Jeff is probably going to do that. Just a suspicion.
Yeah, hometown kind of thing.
So for everything that's new, yeah, and old, my dad and Jeff are from the same town, and it is 8 miles from Sonoma.
Yeah.
So that's just an interesting anecdote.
Yeah. So I like the Sonoma thing. I was hoping for something more juicy, Jeff, like, coming back for half a season, or if it's some giveaway, I'm probably going to be disappointed if it's a giveaway. How about that?
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought I saw that somewhere, but I could be totally wrong.
Could be.
I mean, if it's anything, it's the SRX stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Now SRX would be
him
big.
with Ray Evernham again, I'm sure Ray can talk him into doing a race or whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
Well. On that note, now I don't want to derail you, Rusty, because I know we're bumping up against our
you're good.
time. But
Keep rolling.
I wonder which you imagine that Dale Jr. is going to run a race this year. Where's he going to do that?
Interesting
No,
question.
that would be on the.
I thought you were asking Rusty.
No, I'm asking both of you really. He's been doing 2 or 3 Xfinity races a year. I wonder where he's going to do one this year.
I thought he expressed an interest in possibly doing the Martinsville race, because now isn't Xfinity's running a Martinsville race? I mean, I don't think it's announced, or I didn't see it for sure, but I thought he had mentioned that he wanted to do Martinsville at one point or something like that. So
Yeah, I think it's a triple header as they've been doing in terms of the schedule going forward. So I hope that's the case. He's good there.
Yeah, yeah. I do you think he'd go for a road course?
no,
We're going with no on that one.
no way. Yeah,
That's a no. I hope we get Rodney Sandstorm in an Xfinity car at a road race. That would be awesome.
There you go. I can dig it. Gluck, you mentioned this earlier, and that this year we've only got 8 Cup races with practice or qualifying. We've kind of proved that out in a way this past year. Is this the kind of should we expect this as the future of NASCAR, or we've got the new car coming next year, so probably I would think they'd do a bit more of that. But with the TV deals and stuff, how much of that is a driver? Just curious your thoughts.
I think one-day shows are going to be mostly the wave of the future. I'm sure next year, like you said, they'll have some more practice sessions with the new car, some more maybe testing opportunities or something like that. But, for the most part, they figured out they can do it. They're not going to want to spend the money to go back, certainly to 3-day weekends. You might see some 2-day weekends, I guess, but 3-day weekends, no way. I think for the most part, those are going to be gone. I mean, you'll see the occasional probably pop up, but it's all changed now. I mean, we're living in a different world going forward. I mean, we never really got to say goodbye to the wafer, but at the same time, everybody for so many years have been calling for change. Like in the industry, we'd be sitting at the track and you'd be looking at people going, "Why are we here? Like, why are we here for 3 days a week? It's just so unnecessary." Like, Talladega, like, you'd come in, you fly in on a Thursday, you'd show up, they do practice that hardly anybody even participated in the practice on Friday. Then they'd all come back and run like 2 laps of qualifying Saturday, and that's the only thing they do. And then the race Sunday would be like, what are we doing here? Like it was excessive. So, it's kind of weird just because, I mean, I went to 30 something races a year for a while there, and almost all of them were 3-day weekends, back in the day. 2-day weekends were pretty rare. It was like maybe a Bristol night race type thing, but that was my life. So it's just kind of weird now that it's all changed, but I think that's the wave of the future.
Yeah.
I think the TV value has probably coached them into that perspective. Forget about COVID, but they've learned something in that we're still going to watch on Sunday, and the practice and the qualifying, it really wasn't generating the TV value like it did when Speed was covering all that stuff. And so I would expect, to your point, Jeff, that would be the way that we would go forward, because there's no value generation in covering those things in a broadcast perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, fellas, we'll wrap this up with this one. Daytona 500, 11 days away. Jeff, you kind of started the show talking about what you're doing. What's your plan? What's the next 11 days look like for you?
Well, I'm flying Super Bowl Sunday to make sure that I don't miss anything. And, because Monday is media day or there's more media stuff going on. Probably first thing I'll do when I land, go see Jordan Bianchi. Sherwin, you got to be nice to my boy, Jordan Bianchi. He's criminally underrated. He is like really one of the elite newsbreakers in this entire deal now. He's knocking out some good stories. You got to give him some love, man.
We spoke on the phone and we settled our differences.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
Jordan,
Yeah,
I mean,
everything
he puts,
I wasn't trying to be mean to him. It just he's so negative, man, and that like you're such a positive person, and he's so negative.
He's only negative about Christmas and hating children and stuff like that. Other things he's positive about.
No, well, the last 3 podcasts y'all did were wildly different than the last time that he and I spoke on the phone, because he did.
So you raised his spirits. Is that what you're saying? You motivated him to.
I won't take any credit for that. That's
Okay.
all him. But he and I do not have any issues.
Good. Okay. Well, anyway, I think he's he's fantastic. He's a great teammate. So I'm going to go see him. I haven't seen him in a year,
dang.
which is crazy because we covered all sorts of different races and stuff. So Tuesday, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, we got the Clash Tuesday. Is it Daytona 500 qualifying Wednesday already? Then the duels Thursday, truck race Friday, Xfinity race Saturday, Daytona 500. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's never been like that. Like just roll out and just go.
He is certainly welcome to join us whenever he would like to.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna text him right after this and say you're gonna be a future PETM podcast guest.
And so we were scheduled to do a show with Julia Landauer next Tuesday, but that's not going to work out now because her schedule changed. So if he would like to do a show next Wednesday and Rusty is available, we can make that happen.
Well, I might claim him next Wednesday because I think Daytona 500 qualifying may be is it at night? I don't even know. Is it at night? I can't remember. Anyway.
I don't know the answer to that, but if you have a suggestion, you can feel free to text me for who I might ask to do that.
Okay.
There you go. Reach into the file there a little bit. Yeah, it sounds like a busy week. I'll be looking forward to what's coming out there. And so with that, let's close it down. Jeff, you've already told the folks where you're going to be here soon. Why don't you tell them where they can find you?
Yes, sir. I am Jeff_Gluck on the old Twitter. And then, look, I'm not going to beg or anything. I'm just going to say I feel like really stoked about some of the stories we have coming out for Speed Weeks. Would love for you to subscribe to The Athletic because one in particular, I'll say I probably worked on this feature story. I put probably more work into this than I've ever put into a story that I've ever written in my entire life. I think it's coming out Friday of Speed Weeks before the Daytona 500. So, it's only, Athletic's only $3 a month, $5 a month or something, depending on what kind of deal you get. I'm sure we'll have some sort of Speed Weeks deal. I don't know what it is right now, but if anybody wants to subscribe, I'm trying to make it worth your while. So,
dude, it absolutely is. We were talking about it before where just sign up, just get a taste of the drug and then now you're hooked. And every time it comes up and it's like, hey, we're about to charge you whatever. And you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Fill it up again. So love the content and everything that's coming out. And I'll say I love Jordan's content. So, across the board there. And then on top of that, I got into it for racing, and then it's like, hey, pick your favorite teams. And I'm like, okay, sure, Georgia Tech and the Falcons and the Braves. And now suddenly I get all this other content, too, that for me comes for free is what it feels like because I signed up for just NASCAR. So it's a totally, super deal for following along on that stuff. And in a lot of ways, it can I'm not saying it replaces television, but it sure enhances what you're seeing on TV. So big fan. So awesome. Sherwin?
Especially with all the podcasts that get produced. So I probably subscribed for you, Jeff. But my favorite Braves writer is now working for Athletic. His name is David O'Brien. We've had Tori McElhaney on our show twice. She does Falcons and Georgia Tech for Athletic. And so, yes, and Jeff Schultz, who used to be the Atlanta Journal-Constitution's #1 beat writer for all sports Atlanta, is on the Athletic, and I pay attention to all the stuff they're doing, and it's good. It's just really good.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
Sherwin, happy birthday, dude. Tell the folks where they can find us.
Happy birthday, Sherwin.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a fun day. You can find us at PETM Podcast on Twitter and on Instagram. You can find us at PETM Racing Podcast on anywhere that you find podcasts, especially YouTube, where we're at right now. And you can find me at Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram and Pregame Engineer on the private or the personal Twitter.
Excellent. And as always, PTMpodcast.com, at PTM Podcast on Twitter. And I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor. We can't wait to talk to y'all next week. We'll figure out who we're talking to here in a bit. It's going to be a surprise for y'all, surprise for us. We'll figure it out. We're going to have some fun. Daytona 500, 11 days. We'll be talking about some actual racing on the track next week. So can't wait to talk to y'all then. See you later. There we go. All right. Had to find that button. Awesome. Good times, fellas.
All right. We're in the after dark.
There it
Jeff,
is.
now's where you can express language if you want to. If you don't, that's fine too. But
wow, look at this. My arms even are disappearing. My arms are that white that my arms even disappear in this background. Wow.
That was a freaking
Somebody hasn't been out in the sun recently.
Yeah. Well, you're pretty pale. You got that red hair, so you kind of. Well, it's hard to be tan when you're redhead.
Well, it's nice of you to say that I have hair in the first place, because I feel like I don't have much left anymore. But
wintertime in Portland doesn't help you in that respect.
No, I'm in Denver now. I'm in
Denver.
So
I'm sorry. Yep.
Even colder.
You know what? You had the Portland shirt on, I think, and I mixed it up.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I do have Portland shirt on.
I pay attention to some things.
You're going to be in. Oh, yeah. So you're going to be in Daytona, but are you going to be in Atlanta or Bristol or Nashville? What's that look like for you?
No, I mean, after the baby comes, I don't think I probably won't travel again until I'm vaccinated, just because, I guess babies have like no immune system or something, or a very little immune system when they start.
None. So, they don't have any immune system.
Yeah. So I just don't want, I don't want to take a chance. Right. Cause right now the conditions out there, I mean, going through airports, getting on planes, going to the media center or whatever, or the press box with people, NASCAR, they don't test when people come. I know the Supercross, they test everybody, media members, all the participants, everybody, every day. NASCAR doesn't test. So I can't really take a chance on bringing something back to the newborn. So I might be out till, out as far as traveling until May, June. I don't know.
Well, that makes sense.
It'll be a while.
So I spoke. Yeah, I spoke with we went to college with, and I spoke to one of them today. Called me and had their daughter sing me happy birthday, which was awesome. And what he's seeing is that people our age are probably not going to have access to the vaccine until like October of 2022.
What? No, that can't be
Yes.
right.
It shouldn't be, but it probably is going to depend on whatever your situation is. What do you do for work? What's your function in life? What's your age? What are your conditions? Uh, I would suspect somebody like me who's 40 and single and doesn't have children probably going to have to wait in line a long time. But we've still tentatively planned out this racing process. And the only one that I'll be upset if we don't get to go to is
You dropped out there. You say something to me? Did I drop out?
I think I'm back. I'm with you. You got me, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
I
Did Sherwin say something to me, or did he drop out?
I can't hear Sherwin. What's funny is that I heard him say the one I'd be most disappointed in is, and then it cut off. So we're left hanging.
Yeah, I see his lips moving, but I don't hear him saying anything.
Oh, Sherwin, you went mute on us. Oh, that's funny.
Sherwin, we can't hear you.
We're all hanging. Good thing it didn't happen during the podcast. This is when all technical problems have happened lately. Knock on wood, is like in the after dark, and we're trying to figure it out. That's funny. But
Weird.
But yeah, I mean, Nashville is something I really want to do. Dega is something that we've been doing for a while, and I've been saying it, Jeff, that the one thing I miss the most is NASCAR. Usually go to a Braves game, usually go to a soccer game, usually go to a Falcons game, something like that. But man, getting back on the track, that's I don't know, it's killing me right now. What is this? Is this your first race at is Daytona your first race back, or did you go to some last year?
I went to Phoenix,
Phoenix, okay.
and I went to Indy 500. And while I was in Indy, I went to Michigan doubleheader.
Oh, sweet.
But that's it. That's all the ones I've done.
How is a Michigan doubleheader? Is this like a thing now, or is that just a one time deal in your opinion?
Um,
I know what happened. I mashed
what
the
happened?
button on my thing.
Oopsie.
Oh. I don't think, I think Pocono might keep doubleheader for a while, but I think everybody else, they'll just take that race away. Like they took Dover race away. They took Michigan's other race away. I don't think they want to do doubleheaders, I guess. Anyway.
Well, I wonder how much do you think that is related to NASCAR's lack of affinity for behaving the way IndyCar behaves? Because IndyCar was kind of the first major series that we saw do double headers.
I think it's more like TV ratings. Like for that Michigan race, Saturday race didn't do anything. I don't think TV ratings wise. Like it was people didn't know. People weren't really aware. NASCAR fans are used to racing on Sundays, and the same thing for the midweek races. Those didn't do well on TV on ratings either. So, I just think they realized when they looked at ratings last year, hey, let's try to keep it on Sundays, and
Well, so I mean, are they chasing a ghost? I guess is what I'm trying to ask from your perspective. Is are they chasing the 1.8 when they really need like a 2.4 or a 2.6? Because I don't think we're ever going to get back to that. I don't think people care about this sport as much as the way they used to. And we're about to limit access to a lot of people who had access from 2001 until 2017. No, it's certainly not. And Rusty actually knows a lot about this TV stuff, and he's tried to teach me, and tried to gather information, but I don't know that I can speak perfectly intelligent to it. So he probably can. But what I wonder is what what does the future of NASCAR look like from a television consumption perspective? Is it channels like USA or TNT or whatever, or is it traditional broadcast channels?
I
And
think
it
it goes
doesn't.
back to the streaming thing, you know?
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's what it's going to be, because even the people like us that are totally committed to live sports, you know, the biggest problem, watch Fox Regional, because YouTube and Fox Regional can't get along right now. So while I get FS1 and FS2, I don't get Fox Sports South and Fox Sports South.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means I don't get to watch Hawks and I don't get to watch the Braves.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm
it's
wearing
the same thing. It's the same thing here.
Sure.
We don't get to watch any of the Denver games. The only reason we bought NBA League Pass for the Portland Trailblazers games, but that's if we were in market, we couldn't watch them. You know what I mean? Like when we lived in Portland, we were trying to do all the illegal streams and stuff just to be able to watch it, like because it's not available to you unless you, like you said, you get their cable package, and it's not a good way to do business, but obviously it gets them money, I guess. So,
well, I've used Crackcast to watch most of the Falcons games this year, which wasn't a whole lot of fun in a lot of ways, but I did get to watch the ones that I wanted to watch because that thing exists, and it was like, oh, this is a virus magnet. But
yeah, I know. You're like, how many viruses is my computer getting right now as I watch this, and all these weird pop-ups come up on the screen? You're like, great.
Yeah. So, I mean, wouldn't it benefit NASCAR in this new world we exist in, where people are they're actually watching entire events on their phone or on their iPad? Wouldn't it benefit NASCAR to build a streaming model where they actually show the race?
I think no, not necessarily, just because I think it benefits them to just get paid as much money as possible. They realize how much the teams, depend on all the money they got in the tracks, I mean, that's what's keeping everything afloat. The ratings have gone down, but they're making more money than ever,
Well, think about it from this perspective. They took away the information from us about who wins what amount of money at a race. There's only one reason why you would do that, and that's because it significantly reduced. Because if it increased, they would want to broadcast that. So now we don't have any knowledge of what the money was made. The last champion Johnson won, he got a $12 million check on top of what his probably a $13 or $14 million salary that he already had, based on what his sponsor commitment was to the team. Yeah. So now that we don't know those things, it's very obvious to someone who understands business that the reason why they're hiding that is because it has significantly been reduced, and they don't want that to be bad press.
It's possible. I mean, I think I don't know.
The only thing I worry about at all is that Rusty and I think, are on the same page as this. We love this sport so much. This is our 276th episode of talking on NASCAR on the internet that nobody listens to. I mean, it is what it is, but it's a hobby, right? So we just enjoy it because it's an opportunity for us to talk about a sport we love. But if it's not generating the TV revenue that it needs to in order to be a viable sport, that's concerning. Mm-hmm. It's concerning from a perspective of will we be able to watch this sport? Will this sport continue to exist? Because it existed for a long, long time without television.
It'll be fine in that regard. I mean, you're always with streaming now, you're always going to be able to find a platform for any sport, no matter how small it is. Now it's just a matter of where can you put it on what platform. I mean, look at the popularity of dirt racing, and
Yeah.
on those streaming platforms. I mean, those are great streams from middle of nowhere tracks that they put on every night. Really high quality stuff. So the technology is there now where you're always going to be fine with that. It's just a matter of how much is it going to cost? Can you use that to get publicity? Is it a big enough platform to pull in other eyeballs? Those are the tougher questions. But as long as the money is there, the sport will be fine. And yeah.
When
Anyway,
the hell
I
are
gotta
we going to
run
get that?
because it's 3 minutes from my daughter's bedtime. So
No, that's all
gotta,
good, and we really
go be
appreciate
back.
your time. When the hell are we going to get to have another tweet up?
I was
Right.
Sarah was just asking me about that before. She was like, "Are you going to do a tweet up in Daytona?" I'm like, hey, "We can't. We'll be in the. We had to commit to either the press box or the infield for the entire week. You cannot move.
Wow.
You cannot go back and forth. I can't go if I go to the infield, if I go to the media center on day one, I cannot go to the press box, period. Like on any day the entire week.
Wow.
So I can't go outside, can't come back in. When you get to the track, you're there. They don't want to burst bubbles, literally, right? So, I mean, it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time, but yeah.
All right. Well, we really want to see you again soon, and we have Rusty and I, this is the longest Rusty and I have been in without going to a race since 2005.
Wow.
Yep.
It's crazy. Well, I hope to see you guys again soon too. Have a great rest of your birthday.
Thanks. I got a 7 a.m. meeting with my boss's boss. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Maybe save the rest of the moonshine for after that.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
times,
Have a good
Jeff.
one.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Jeff. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Take care. Have a good one. See you.
All right. Well, sir, I'm trying to get us up in all the
Golly,
places. Oh, looks like we're there.
I always like talking to Jeff. God, man, he is so much fun to talk
Yeah.
to.
I'm going to say good night to the YouTubers. Thanks for hanging out. It was awesome. We will talk to y'all next week with a surprise to everyone guest. So good times. See y'all later.
Yeah, I'll text Jeff and see if he's got somebody.
All right.
Obviously, yeah.